I'm Robin Hall. I've been coming to Good News Fellowship Church for a few months now. And today I'd like to just talk to you and give you a small testimony and tell you what God's done in my life, how exciting it is to be able to talk about Him. I was at the Salvation Army Church for several years, over 30 years in fact, and I felt like it was a time to change. I felt God was leading me in a different direction. You know, my past, I was carried to church as a child. I've always been in church. I was saved at a young age, probably around 9 or 10 years old, and I was actually sprinkled in the Methodist church at 12. My father, my mother, they were very strict parents. They always, instilled in us to go to church and to be good people. I was speaking with Lori Williams from my office, and, we were talking one day. We don't really understand, or we didn't have the concept of what it was like to be saved radically. It's good to hear everybody's story. Everybody has a testimony to tell. Everybody has a different story. I just didn't have that. But the Lord has worked in my life all throughout it. He's guided me to churches. He's put special people in my life to help guide me along the way. Pastor Steve has been one that has encouraged me, and I'm so glad now that I'm in the School of Ministry where I'm learning more and more about God that I can use in my life. But what I kind of want to tell you about today is how my life was. At Salvation Army, I was a Sunday school teacher for adults, and I was also a local officer to the degree of like Tom Seibold is here, same kind of duties. And I loved the Lord with all my heart, and I always thought there would never really be anything that would really shake my faith that much. But in October of 2002, my life came crashing to a dead stop almost. I lost my husband. I had been married for 21 years. He was my best friend. I loved him dearly. In fact, I would say at that time he was the most important thing in my life. In fact, later on, as I got into a sermon that I was speaking in Orangeburg, South Carolina, I heard myself say that I put my husband in front of God at times. And I was surprised to hear that. Sometimes God has to just call and tell you what He thinks and blurt it out to you. And that's what it was. And I came to the realization as I look back. Jim had a huge heart attack that just took his life automatically. There was no time to talk, no last things that we could say or anything. He was my world. And I went into a depression. I never missed a beat, though, in church as far as doing what I had always done, still teaching Sunday school, and just trying to pick up the pieces that didn't really fit. 3 months later, not quite 3 months, I also lost my father. My father was in a nursing home. He had Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease, and he died quickly too. So that was another big thing that I was hit with. Well, like I said, continuing to live the life, continuing to do the church duties and everything else. But the bad thing about it is I was living a lie. The things that I had taught people in Sunday school about God's love and how you need to come up close and run into His arms in times of trouble. I'd said it in sermons at places before speaking, but I never really did that. I grieved to myself. I looked in different places to different people for help, but I never really felt secure, or I was hurt so bad, I just felt like I couldn't get it together. But the Lord watched over me. He continued doing in my life what He had done. I was in that type for a long time. I'm talking probably about 5 years, to where I was in a depression, and I was trying to serve, and it just wasn't coming across. Well, it wasn't until 2007 that I had gone and I had been examined, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I was treated for it. And I realized at that time, okay, I'm not doing anything good here. So what better than to just go on and die? My life is worthless. I'm not doing anything. So why not just, God to just take me home? But as I got into my treatments, I walked into the West Virginia Cancer Center that January morning. And one of the first things you do going into the office visit is fill out paperwork, and then you see the nurse. Well, part of my paperwork, as always, asked, what's your marital status? And of course I said, widowed. And a young nurse, later on after coming back to the room and talking to me, she says, I noticed that your marital status is widowed. You're very young for that. And I said, yes ma'am, I am. She said, well, how did you make it? And I told her, by the faith in God. He had led me through everything in my whole life. And she said, well, I want to share something with you. Just 2 months prior, I had lost she had lost her husband, and she had 2 small children. And she said, I'm just dragging. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I was able to understand why God had called me. I was actually in service in the cancer center. My cancer ended up being a low degree. I was completely healed of it, and I haven't had any other signs since. But God called me to do a job through this illness. He's going to call us for a victory. He's going to bring a testimony from a test in your life, no matter what. He has great plans for all of us. You hear most all the time about a pastor saying, I was called to preach. But I want y'all to know that, yes, he was called to preach, but each one of us, we were called by God for service also. He has plans for each and every one of you, just like he did me. We just have to have our eyes and our hearts open to the leading of what he's sending us to do. So I just want you to be encouraged and learn from my story. Don't stay sad and depressed. Don't make it all about me. It's not all about me. It's all about God's work and what he has planned for us. So I just wanted to share that with you today.